Hello everybody, in this video we are going to see about temporary tables. In the previous session we have seen CTs or common table expressions. Temporary table is something which is similar to CTs, but its usage is something which is just specific to that particular session. Whenever we open any SQL workbench or wherever we are using any session. In that session, if we need some temporary table to be created or something which is we need to just store for some time while we are working in that particular session, that time we need temporary table. And now there are couple of ways to create temporary table. We can either create a new table with the new columns or we can actually copy the existing table data with the help in the new temporary table. We are going to see both of these. So let's try to see first how we can create a temporary table with some new columns. Whenever we wanted to create any table, we created a table which is like this which is going to be available when we use this. But when we wanted to create a temporary table, we are going to use this temporary table and we will give some name as a temp table. This is something which is we are going to see where we are going to create one temporary table and we'll just add a few columns as first name, varchar 50. We'll just keep it simple and we will create only three columns for this first name, last name, and let's say favorite fourth as varchar say 100. So this is something which is we are creating, and when we can execute it. Now, when we execute this, you can see this table must have got created. Uh, there is no error. It says 0 rows affected, but this table is created, and this is a temporary table, and that's why it will not be available at this site. So how we can now access this? We'll just select star from and give this name, and we'll try to run this now. Now, when we now do a select for this from this table, there is no data at the moment in this. That's why it is showing as empty. But we got this table created. Now this table is available for this particular session. Now uh, I'm just going to insert some one row of data here, insert into temp table and values. I will give the first name, let's say my name. And then favorite sport, let's say something more popular here, cricket. Okay, so this is something which is I'm trying to insert one row of data and we'll execute this. Now you can say one row affected. Now what I will try to do is I will just try to execute this and we'll see whether the data is inserted or not. You can see one row of data is inserted in this particular temporary table. Now this temporary table is something which is available here as well. If I try to open a new window and we just say select star from temporary table, and if I try to execute as well, you will see this one particular row and it is available. But that means whatever the session which is available here, but if I close this SQL workbench from here, like from here, and then this will not be available once I reopen this SQL workbench. This is one thing to remember. That is just a session specific. Now the next way to create a temporary table is something from the existing table. So let's say we do have one table which is employee salary, and this table is having some data. You can say this is something it's having. So suppose there is a requirement like I just need to find out the employees who are having salary of more than 60,000. So that time you can just create one temporary table, create a temporary table, and we can just give say salary 60K. So we should give some meaningful name always to this template table. It's not like that we should give always temp table or something which is not meaningful to that particular table. What we can do, we can just give some meaningful table name so that it is easy to identify later when we use it in that particular session. And in the first method, we just gave some columns to like this when we were creating first temporary table. But now what we are going to do is we are going to select from this table, which is after this create table temporary table command, we are going to say select star from by salary, but we are going to apply a filter where salary is greater than equal to 60,000. So this is something which is I am trying to create a temporary table, and we just try to execute this. Now you can say 6 rows affected. Now this table is got created. Let me try to query it, select from, and now if I try to execute now this, you can see there are 6 rows which got showing salary of more than 60,000. That is something which is we have created in this salary over 60. So this is the way, two ways we can create. Temporary tables have been using in the real-time projects for data analytics things where I need to create some temporary data for some analysis for that particular session. That is something which is very useful. Whenever we are going to work in store procedures, at that time also we need to create temporary tables most of the times. So cities and temporary table is something which is similar, but cities are more simpler way and that are not used that much in a complicated store procedure or something. But temporary table is something which is being used most of the times in the store procedures. What is store procedures that we are going to see in the next session.